Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Wisdom in the Best Books and Films, where we go through some of my favorite books and look for bite-sized nuggets of truth that we can nibble on. I'm Jake Bear, the host, and this week I'm going to go back to William George Jordan. We read last month one of the series of his essays. He has a series of essays called The Power of Truth. We read the titular essay last month, and this month I'm going to go on and do the next one. It is called The Courage to Face Ingratitude. This one is probably my favorite of the book and is one of my favorite essays ever written that I've ever read. The Courage to Face Ingratitude is fantastic. If you like the show, please share it with anyone that you know who might also like it, and leave a review on Apple or Spotify. This is The Courage to Face Ingratitude. Ingratitude, the most popular sin of humanity, is forgetfulness of the heart. It is the revelation of the emptiness of pretended loyalty. The individual who possesses it finds it the shortest cut to all the other vices. Ingratitude is a crime more despicable than revenge, which only is returning evil for evil, while ingratitude returns evil for good. People who are ungrateful rarely forgive you if you do them a good turn. Their microscopic hearts resent the humiliation of having been helped by a superior, and this rankling feeling filtering through their petty natures often ends in hate and treachery. Gratitude is thankfulness expressed in action. It is the instinctive radiation of justice, giving new life and energy to the individual from whom it emanates. It is the heart's recognition of kindness that the lips cannot repay. Gratitude never counts its payments. It realizes that no debt of kindness can ever be outlawed, ever be canceled, ever paid in full. Gratitude ever feels the insignificance of its installments. Ingratitude, the nothingness of its debt. Gratitude is the flowering of a seed of kindness. Ingratitude is the dead inactivity of a seed dropped on a stone. The expectation of gratitude is human. The rising superior to ingratitude is almost divine. To desire recognition of our acts of kindness and to hunger for appreciation and the simple justice of a return of good for good is natural. But man never rises to the dignity of true living until he has the courage that dares to face ingratitude calmly and to pursue his course unchanged when his good works meet with the thanklessness or disdain. Man should have only one court of appeals as to his actions, not what will be the result, how will it be received, but is it right? Then he should live his life in harmony with this standard alone, serenely, bravely, loyally, and unfalteringly, making right for right's sake both his ideal and his inspiration. Man should not be an automatic gas machine cleverly contrived to release a given quantity of illumination under the stimulus of a nickel. He should be like the great sun itself, which ever radiates light, warmth, life, and power because it cannot help doing so, because these qualities fill the heart of the sun. And for it to have them means that it must give them constantly. Let the sunlight of our sympathy, tenderness, love, appreciation, influence, and kindness ever go out from us as a glow to brighten and hearten others. But do not let us ever spoil it all by going through life constantly collecting receipts, as vouchers, to stick on the file of our self-approval. It is hard to see those who have sat at our board in the days of our prosperity flee as from a pestilence when misfortune darkens our doorway, to see the loyalty upon which we would have staked our life, that seemed firm as a rock, crack and splinter like thin glass at the first real test. To know that the fire of friendship, at which we could ever warm our hands in our hour of need, has turned to cold, dead, gray ashes where warmth is but a haunting memory. To realize that he who once lived in the sanctuary of our affection, in the frank confidence where conversation seemed but our soliloquy, and to whom our aims and aspirations have been thrown open with no Bluebeard chamber of reserve, has been secretly poisoning the waters of our reputation and undermining us by his lies and treachery, is hard indeed. But no matter how the ingratitude stings us, we should just swallow the sob, stifle the tear, smile serenely and bravely, and seek to forget. In justice to ourselves, we should not permit the ingratitude of a few to make us condemn the whole world. We pay too much tribute to a few human insects when we let their wrongdoing paralyze our faith in humanity. It is a lie of the cynics that says, all men are ungrateful, a companion lie to all men have their price. We must trust humanity if we would get good from humanity. He who thinks all mankind is vile is a pessimist who mistakes his introspection for observation. He looks into his own heart and thinks he sees the world. He is like a cross-eyed man who never sees what he seems to be looking at. Confidence and credit are the cornerstones of business, as they are of society. Withdraw them from business, and the activities and enterprises of the world would stop in an instant, topple and fall into chaos. Withdraw confidence in humanity from the individual, and he becomes but a breathing, selfish egotist. The one good man left, working overtime and nursing his petty grudge against the world because a few whom he has favored have been ungrateful. If a man receives a counterfeit dollar, he does not straightway lose his faith in all money. At least there are no such instances on record in this country. If he has a run of 3 or 4 days of dull weather, he does not say, "The sun ceases to exist. Surely there are no bright days to come in the whole calendar of time." If a man's breakfast is rendered an unpleasant memory by some item of food that has outlived its usefulness, he does not forswear eating. If a man finds under a tree an apple with suspicious-looking hole in one side, he does not condemn the whole orchard, he simply confines his criticism to that apple. But he who has helped someone who, later, did not pass a good examination on gratitude, says in a voice plaintive with the consciousness of injury, and with a nod of his head that implies the wisdom of Solomon, "I have had my experience. I have learned my lesson. This is the last time I will have faith in any man. I did this for him, and that for him, and now look at the result." Then he unrolls a long schedule of favors, carefully itemized and added up, till it seems the payroll of a great city. He complains of the injustice of one man, yet he is willing to be unjust to the whole world, making it bear the punishment of the wrong of an individual. There is too much vicarious suffering already in this world of ours, without this Lilliputian attempt to extend it by syndicating one man's ingratitude. If one man drinks to excess, it is not absolute justice to send the whole world to jail. The farmer does not expect every seed that he sows in hope and faith to fall on good ground and bring forth its harvest. He is perfectly certain that this will not be so, cannot be. He is counting on the final outcome of many seeds, on the harvest of all, rather than on the harvest of one. If you really want gratitude, and must have it, be willing to make many men your debtors. The more unselfish, charitable, and exalted the life and mission of the individual, the larger will be the number of instances of ingratitude that must be met and vanquished. The 30 years of Christ's life was a tragedy of ingratitudes. Ingratitude is manifest in 3 degrees of intensity in the world. He knew them all, in numberless, bitter instances. The first phase, the simplest and most common, is that of thoughtless thanklessness. As was shown in the case of the 10 lepers healed in one day, 9 departed without a word, only 1 gave thanks. The second phase is the ingratitude of denial. A positive sin, not the mere negation of thanklessness. This was exemplified in Peter, whose selfish desire to stand well with 2 maids and some bystanders, in the hour when he had the opportunity to be loyal to Christ, forgot his friendship, lost all thought of his indebtedness to his master, and denied him, not once or twice, but 3 times. The third phase of ingratitude is treachery, where selfishness grows vindictive, as shown by Judas, the honored treasurer of the little band of 13, whose jealousy, ingratitude, and 30 pieces of silver made possible the tragedy of Calvary. These three, thanklessness, denial, and treachery, run the gamut of ingratitude, and the first leads to the second, and the second prepares the way for the third. We must ever tower high above dependence on human gratitude, or we can do nothing really great, nothing truly noble. The expectation of gratitude is the alloy of an otherwise virtuous act. It ever dulls the edge of even our best actions. Most persons look at gratitude as a protective tariff on virtues. The man who is weakened in well-doing by the ingratitude of others is serving God on a salary basis. He is a hired soldier, not a volunteer. He should be honest enough to see that he is working for a reward, like a child. He is being good for a bonus. He is really regarding his kindness and his other expressions of goodness as moral stock. He is willing to hold only so long as they pay dividends. There is in such living always a touch of the pose. It is waiting for the applause of the gallery. We must let the consciousness of doing right, of living up to our ideals, be our reward and stimulus, or life will become to us but a series of failures, sorrows, and disappointments. Much of the seeming ingratitude in life comes from our magnifying of our own acts, our minifying of the acts of others. We may have overestimated the importance of something that we have done. It may have been the most trivial, purely incidental, yet marvelous working of the loom of time brought out great and unexpected results to the recipient of our favor. We often feel that wondrous gratitude is due us, though we were in no wise the inspiration of the success we survey, with such a feeling of pride. A chance introduction given by us on the street may, through an infinity of circumstances, make our friend a millionaire. Thanks may be due to us for the introduction, and perhaps not even that, for it might have been unavoidable. But surely we err when we expect him to be meekly grateful to us for his subsequent millions. The essence of truest kindness lies in the grace with which it is performed. Some men seem to discount all gratitude, almost make it all impossible, by the way in which they grant favors. They make you feel so small, so mean, so inferior. Your cheeks burn with indignation in the acceptance of the boon you seek at their hands. You feel like it is a bone thrown at a dog instead of the quick, sympathetic graciousness that forestalls your explanations and waves your thanks with a smile. The pleasure of one friend who has been favored with the opportunity to be of service to another. The man who makes another feel like an insect reclining on a red-hot stove while he is receiving a favor has no right to expect future gratitude. He should feel satisfied if he receives forgiveness. Let us forget the good deeds we have done by making them seem small in comparison with the greater things we are doing, and the still greater acts we hope to do. This is true generosity, and will develop gratitude in the soul of him who has been helped, unless he is so petrified in selfishness as to make it impossible. But constantly reminding a man of the favors he has received from you almost cancels the debt. The care of the statistics should be his privilege. You are usurping his prerogative when you recall them. Merely because it has been our good fortune to be able to serve someone, we should not act as if we held a mortgage on his immortality, and expect him to swing the censer of adulation forever in our presence. That which often seems to us to be ingratitude may be merely our own ignorance of the subtle phases of human nature. Sometimes a man's heart is so full of thankfulness that he cannot speak, and in the very intensity of his appreciation, mere words seem to him paltry, petty, and inadequate, and the depth of eloquence of his silence is misunderstood. Sometimes the consciousness of his inability to repay develops a strange pride, genuine gratitude it may be, though unwise in its lack of expression, a determination to say nothing until the opportunity for which he is waiting to enable him to make his gratitude an actuality. There are countless instances in which true gratitude has all the semblance of the basest ingratitude, as certain harmless plants are made by nature to resemble poison ivy. Ingratitude is someone's protest that you are no longer necessary to him. It is often the expression of rebellion at the discontinuance of favors. People are rarely ungrateful until they have exhausted their assessments. Profuse expressions of gratitude do not cancel an indebtedness any more than a promissory note settles an account. It is a beginning, not a finality. Gratitude that is extravagant in words is usually economical in all other expression. No good act performed in the world ever dies. Science tells us thus that no atom of matter can ever be destroyed, that no force once started ever ends. It merely passes through a multiplicity of ever-changing phases. Every good deed done to others is a great force that starts an unending pulsation through time and eternity. We may not know it, we may never hear a word of gratitude or of recognition, but it will all come back to us in some form, as naturally, as perfectly, as inevitably, as echo answers to sound. Perhaps not as we expect it, how we expect it, nor where, but sometime, somehow, somewhere, it comes back, as the dove that Noah sent from the ark returned with its green leaf of revelation. Let us conceive of gratitude in its largest, most beautiful sense, that if we receive any kindness, we are debtor, not merely to one man, but to the whole world, as we are each day indebted to thousands for the comforts, joys, consolations, and blessings of life. Let us realize that it is only by kindness to all that we can begin to repay the debt to one. Begin to make gratitude the atmosphere of all our living, and a constant expression in outward acts, rather than in mere thoughts. Let us see the awful cowardice and injustice of ingratitude, not to take it too seriously in others, not to condemn it too severely, but merely to banish it forever from our own lives, and to make every hour of our living the radiation of the sweetness of gratitude.